Okay, everybody, welcome to another round of Friday Fuel Lessons in Leadership. I'm very excited about this one. I know I say that every week, but I'll say it again. I have thought about this topic for a long time because back when I was running SDR teams, this was always a key metric. So I'm excited to do this one today. As I mentioned in some posts this week, I oftentimes get really fired up on leadership and mindset, and that's where I love. That's where I live, right? Um, but sometimes the nuts and bolts are important. You can't ignore some of the key steps and procedures and processes that are going to lead you to success. So I thought today would be a great opportunity to do exactly that and talk about a key topic pertaining to something I see as very crucial in B2B SaaS, in sales in general. So let's jump in and get to that topic right now. Pull up my PowerPoint and we'll switch to current slide and we are off and running. So today's piece is about upping your sit rate. And so we'll get into that shortly. Quick background. I imagine by now a lot of you know who I am, but in case you don't, I was a teacher and coach for 15 years at the Pingree School. Then I transitioned to work at Tenna, where I was blessed to spend about 7 years running both the sales development team and the customer success team. And the sales development team in my last chapter there became the primary vehicle for growth to help take Tenna from where it was as an early stage company to a strong 8-figure ARR company and a leader in construction tech that it is today. And then in the last year plus, I've been running Path, where my mission is simple to help B2B startups accelerate by helping them designing a winning program, hiring great talent, and then coaching and training their SDRs to excellence so they have a winning blueprint to continue to accelerate their company. And that's me in a nutshell. And Friday Fuel, really, there's about 4 different audiences who typically come. Maybe it's an early stage startup who's thinking about building an SDR team, but just don't know how to do it. Maybe it's sales leaders who really want more insight on coaching a team, hiring a team. You want that edge. Maybe you're someone just bringing on new people on a regular basis and you wish you had that blueprint to do it more effectively. Maybe you're just somebody in sales and you want that edge and that little bit of best practice knowledge to help you achieve at a higher level. So if any of those fall into your purview, if any of those 4 categories resonate for you, you're in the right place. So let's jump into it and talk about the key topic today. So, how do you get your prospects to show up for the meeting? Seems like a pretty simple thing, right? You have a solution. You made a phone call. You reached out to someone. They should show up, right? Well, common sense and common practice are 2 different things. And yes, you will find in sales and typically in B2B sales, and if you have an SDR team, they're not going to show up every time. A little bit of that's human nature, but I do think there are, from my experience, some great do's and don'ts and some key practices to up your sit rate, to close that gap between the percentage of people you book and the percentage of people who show up. So that's what we're going to talk about today. And I'm going to talk about 3 main strategies and thinking about 3 different aspects of the process. There's the booking aspect itself. So it doesn't start, upping your sit rate to me doesn't start once they say yes. It happens before. It's in booking it the right way. Then there is a winning confirmation process. That's number 2. Number 3, there's creating momentum. There is introducing a tone. There's introducing a experience that's going to make sure and up the chances that person shows up. And hopefully it's a little bit better than most sales experiences that they've had. Because let's face it, a lot of people have a negative connotation around sales professionals. So I think there's a way to do this the right way, authentically, that's going to create some absolute momentum. So let me walk through those pieces real quick and we'll see if there's any questions in the chat. Looks like no one is coming in live here on the Zoom, which is just fine. Probably because I didn't spend enough time to specifically court people into the Zoom. So in the future, I will do that at a higher level. All right, let's do it. So let's talk about booking for success. That's number one. Okay, couple practices to improve the chances of your contact showing up for the meeting. Do's and don'ts. So specificity, right? Specificity is very important. And what I'm talking about is literally in regard to the date and time that you're offering to the prospect. Okay. Now, let me even back up one step before this process. Every SDR team I coach, I think this is critically important. Again, common sense, but not common practice. You put all this work in. You have this really challenging job where you're calling people all day long, whether you're an SDR or you're an account executive and you're doing outbound. You're calling people, you're working. And guess what? You break through the ice and you get that person some positive rapport and you got momentum, you got value prop, you overcame objections, and now you're at the promised land, right? Here's the key moment. So it kills me that all that work, the hard part's all been done. And then at the moment of truth, you don't phrase it the right way. Um, for example, if you ever ask if someone would like to come to a demo, survey says no. That's death. Because the answer is going to be no. So when you get to that point where you've established that there's an interest, offer two different options, yes or yes. Hey, I've got Tuesday at 2 o'clock or Wednesday at 10 a.m. Which works best? So I'm giving two options right off the bat. And by the way, how do I know those two options? Because when I started my day, I took a post-it note or some other virtual note taker. It doesn't matter. I don't care what you use, if it's high tech or low tech. Have 10 visible spots open, plan for success, and have those available for you. Let's say you book a meeting. Okay, now if Tuesday at 2 o'clock is no longer available, cross that off your list. You have 9 more options open. So have some things in front of you, because when you get to the moment of truth, you don't want to think. When you don't want someone to say yes, and then you look at okay, all right, let me look at my calendar. And then there's this deathly pause where I literally want to headbutt a pane of glass, because that's the point where you can lose them. That's a point where someone says, yeah, you know what? I got to go. You know what? I don't really have time for this right now. Can you send me an email? You did all this work and you flushed it. So be ready in advance, get to the moment of truth, ask the question with conviction. And guess what? If they don't have those times available and you pivot to next, okay, no problem. How about Thursday at 11 or Friday at 3? And then you might get into a conversation of maybe it's next week, but come in with specific dates and times. You're going to cut down so much nonsense if you do. If you provide too much flex, you might think, well, look, I'm a reasonable person. I want to be accommodating to my prospect. We're really wide open all day, Wednesday and Thursday. What works best for you? I understand that sentiment to be helpful, and I appreciate that. Great instinct from a human level. But look, when you get to that point, now you're giving them a task. You're making this more difficult than needs to be. And so again, I just think you're opening up the chances for, I don't have my calendar in front of me, or, let me look and let me get back to you. It also suggests that your company can meet anytime. You might think, well, of course. Well, that's a really helpful idea. You know what? A little bit of scarcity suggests that you are an important person, you have a great product, and you don't have slots all day. You don't have an empty calendar in front of you. People like things that are a little bit in demand. So by offering something that is specific, then yes, you're actually, there's an unspoken component of you have a limited availability. So I think the more specific you can give to somebody, it takes the burden off of them. You get a yes or a no, and then maybe you're going to your next options on the list. So I know that seems to be very granular and maybe very rigid. But again, you want to make the process as frictionless as possible. Be specific. Spend a long time on that one, but really important. Next practice, narrow the window. Narrow the window. What do I mean by that? I think that you want to give options, if at all humanly possible, the same week and no more than 5 business days out. So, okay, if it's a Friday and you're making calls, you're clearly not going to do it in the same business week. I know there are companies that do hot handoffs and someone's available right now. I just think that that creates a very frenetic situation, really hard for someone to come in prepared and present. So I'm not a huge fan of that. But hey, next day, of course. So if Friday you can't do it, you bump to Monday, of course you can do that. Mondays and Fridays tend to have a little bit more hair on them because Monday morning at 9 o'clock, a lot's going to happen in that business over the weekend and their first hour of the day. So I'd probably avoid that window. But guess what? Tuesday is a great window. So try to give options the same week. When you go more than 5 business days out, you're going to destroy your sit rate because business moves fast. Life pivots a lot. You go 2 or 3 weeks out, you might as well be talking about next month or next quarter. You don't know what's going to happen by then. And certainly they don't either. So I know sometimes there's this desire. Well, can we put something tentative on the calendar for 3 weeks from now? Tentative invites are not invites. You might feel better about that because you got someone to say yes, but it's not going to happen. So if at all humanly possible, narrow the window. And not only will you probably find you're going to up your sit rate, you may actually get a lot more deal momentum as well if you look at those metrics of how things move down the line. I would not be surprised at all. Okay, focus on them first. This is a really, really important one as well. So let me walk you through what I mean by that. Oftentimes, you might have a process which makes sense where you have a couple different people that need to be in the meeting, a couple different decision makers. So let's say you have that mid-level manager, the GM or the equipment manager or the ops manager, but you really need the COO, you need that C-suite person, you need the CEO, you need the owner. Well, if you're not talking to them already, if you're talking to the C-suite, it's a little easier, but you need to get that second person. Do ask for others to come, but after you've confirmed the date and time. So whoever you're talking with, get the meeting with them. Get them to say yes to that meeting, get them to confirm, and then say, who else should I invite to the meeting? If you do it that way, what you're doing is there's an expectation that, yes, you know what, they might be bringing other stakeholders to the table, but the meeting time is already set. If you change that slightly and say, is there anybody else I should invite to the meeting? Or if you think about that question, now all of a sudden it opens it up. Once again, you got a yes, you got a specific date and time. Now they're saying, oh yeah, you know what? Probably should invite my boss, but I don't really know their schedule. Let me get back to you. Once again, now we're in scheduling hell. Now we're coordinating that piece, and now you're backpedaling around the defensive. So just go with the assumption that they're coming at that date and time, and you start with them first. Okay. And then if someone else is able to, great, they can join the meeting, or you know what? They can see it on a second time. They can see it on a second demo. Your responsibility is to book the meeting with the person you called. Because otherwise, if that person wasn't a valuable point of contact in the first place, you probably wouldn't have called them anyway. So don't try to coordinate who else is coming first, or you're going to lose it. Really, really important in the booking process to get that to happen. Otherwise, you're going to be going around in circles. Personalize it, right? Do share that. Again, I'm assuming in most situations, the SDR, the person that's booking, is not going to be running the demo. If it is a full sales cycle opportunity and the account executive or account manager or sales rep or whatever title they have, if they're running the demo, well, that's great. But if there's a handoff, share who they're going to meet and ask the person to accept the invite as soon as you send it. Hey, you know what, Bob, I really appreciate it. Jenny's really pumped to meet you. I mean, she's been in the industry for 6 years, and I really think you're going to enjoy that conversation. I'm going to send this invite to you right after we're done. If you can just accept it, that would be great. This way, we have it on the calendar, and we'll look forward to seeing you next Tuesday. Upping the personal side. Now, this isn't a demo in a vacuum. This is a person that's on our team that's valuable, that's spending their time meeting the person you're talking with. If you just kind of hope for the best and kind of leave it as this blank, invisible person, they might feel a little less beholden to come. They might have said yes, but now by upping the ante and adding this personal connection, now it is that spoken component. And yeah, there's a little bit of a responsibility on the person to show up because they said they would. I like to think that in this world, people do what they say they're going to do. They don't always do that. But if I'm adding another person in the mix, well, then it gives the cue that this is there's someone's time is being invested in meeting with them. So I think it is going to up the ante. And last piece, post call. Know your number one. So in the notes, you're going to put your demo notes together to be able to pass this on to the account executive. What's the number one reason that POC is going to show up? What's the number one reason? What are they interested in most? So this to me is a great litmus test. Don't just hope for the best. Once again, if you go through that and there's not a number one reason, they're probably not coming. So in your process, of course, you should be providing value, talking about the ROI of what your solution is going to bring. And once you're done with that call, you should pretty easily be able to identify, yeah, they're excited about that aspect of the solution. If you do that, you're going to hang your hat on the fact that you probably did a good job in the call of helping to identify a problem, pose a potential solution that you can provide, you and your company. So all those are booking for success. So now let's talk about the confirmation process. So we've now booked the meeting the right way, and that has now created a more professional situation, more value throughout, and we've made sure we have a good date and time. Now let's talk about the confirmation process. So first of all, do it quickly. Okay. I would say you're going to be top of mind for this prospect for at least the next hour, minimum 30 minutes, right? I know they have a million things going on, but they're going to remember who you are for that hour. As the day goes on, that's going to drop off like a cliff when all the other good and bad things happen in their day. So send your confirmation while it's top of mind for the prospect. Since you ask them to accept the invite, if they see your email come through at the next opportunity where they check and it's there, great. If you wait 4 hours, you might get a different response. You might get no response. Now, again, you have to make sure you get your good demo notes in. I would prioritize that first. All the relevant details, follow the template that hopefully your company has created of all the information you need to pass on so you can tell a good story to your account executive and you have the key details. Great SDRs do that. Do that piece, but then, yes, get the invite out as soon as you can. Next piece, keep it simple. Keep it simple. I've seen a lot of things go sideways when you don't. So include what's necessary. So again, date and time, link to the meeting. I'm assuming this is going to be a virtual meeting. Some companies have on-sites. That's terrific. Huge proponent of that. But put the logistics, person, date, and time. And then if there's anything else that's a quick value, top of mind piece, put that in. Maybe it's one link to one case study or a testimonial that reminds you of this exact company. So it's going to add value. One thing. What I don't want to do is throw the kitchen sink at them. Okay. If you send 8 case studies, you might think, well, more is better. Guess what? They might be like, oh my God, this is too much. I'm getting pushed a little too hard. I thought we were just getting to know each other. I thought we are going on a first date. This is too much for me. Is this company really going to be in my face? Or they might go through everything and say, you know what? Actually, now that I look at it, I don't think we need this. Yeah, I saw this piece in here. You guys mentioned this piece or whatever. That's too big for us. Now all your work is out the window. They arbitrarily DQ'd you or left the meeting or declined it because you try to provide all this extra information when they've said yes. What's your job? Sell the meeting. And if you've shown some value and the chance for them to learn more in the meeting, they're going to come. The goal is not to educate them with every single piece of data and insight about your company in advance. You, as a professional, hopefully have brought a tone, have brought value that they're going to want to come. So too much is going to sink your demo. They're not going to show up. Keep it clean. Okay. This is important. Like I said, in that phone call, or you can in the email as well, reinforce it. Your teammate is excited to meet them at the set date and time. Jenny can't wait to meet you Tuesday at 10 a.m. All right. What I wouldn't do is open the door to conversations in advance. Couple reasons. And what do I mean by that? I've been in spots where an account executive likes to play by their own rules. And so the meeting's booked for Tuesday at 10. You just booked them. It's Friday at 12, I don't know, 12:20 p.m. And so they say, yeah, I'm going to give them a shout on Monday. I just want to kind of talk to them, get to know them a little bit. Well, no. Why you've booked Tuesday at 10 a.m. Why would they be calling them Monday to do that? I understand there's this potential thought that they'll build rapport and desire, but now you're disrespecting your prospect's time. You called them probably cold. They agree to a time, which is always a little baby miracle in and of itself. Every book meeting on outbound is a gift, right? It requires skill, it requires timing, it requires agreement. So now you're going to open the door to an additional conversation. You're not respecting your prospect's time. In addition to that, now the sales rep comes in and then they're introducing things, and all of a sudden now it might be a DQ for some random reason. Maybe, and the sales rep maybe hasn't done their homework, and they're not really advancing the process. Now you've introduced an element which doesn't need to happen. Respect the prospect's time. So again, this is more of an organizational decision. It might be above your level, but as a company, please keep it simple, keep it clean, trust the handoff, and that it's going to be done the right way. Do not introduce an extra step in advance of the planned conversation. Now you're annoying, right? Now you're being annoying. So understand that. Third piece, create momentum. So meeting's been booked the right way, invite's been sent, date and time is here. All right, now, what I need to do is, first of all, I want to shift my mindset. I'm going to shift from I'm hoping this person's going to show up and I get credit for my meeting to I'm expecting they will come. I'm expecting they will come because I did a great job of selling the meeting, selling the value of our service and solution. So I've done my job there. And they should, if I did this the right way, I've shown respect of their time and schedule. They're showing me respect. And now I'm creating a positive buying experience. Again, I've talked about this in other trainings. I don't think that I'm any more important than them, and I don't think they're any more important than me. I might be a sales development rep and they might be the owner of the company, but I know I have value to bring and the demo that my account executive is going to offer for this company. And I know they have a great job and they have an important piece and they have decisions and time. So treat the prospect as a worthy equal, where you're coming to an agreement of spending this time because you both respect each other's perspective, right? You're not hoping they come, you're not putting them on a pedestal, but you're also not disrespecting them either and thinking they're beneath you. So I hope that makes sense that you start treating the prospect the way they should be treated. You're creating a different buying experience and you're operating on a higher frequency. So day before Mojo. All right. So book that demo Friday. Demo's happening Tuesday. So Monday, if the demo's Tuesday at 10 a.m., guess what? I'm calling the day before. Hey, Jimmy, it's Mark. Pumped to be able to have you meet Jenny tomorrow, 2 o'clock. Sorry, 10 a.m. Pumped to have you meet Jenny tomorrow at 10 a.m. Great. Awesome. Have a great day, man. Take care. That's all it is. 15 seconds, 30 seconds. This is not a 5-minute discovery, but I do want to call and get that verbal acknowledgement that yes, they're coming tomorrow. Not another mini discovery call. Get in, get out in 15 to 30 seconds. Right? Do this the day before, if at all humanly possible. Please, please, please. I want to punch myself in the face on the times I've heard this question. If you're going to make that call, please, under pain of death, do not ask if that meeting time is still okay. That is death to your meeting because the answer is going to be no. You know what? Actually, I don't know if this is going to work. Now you might have to rebook the whole thing because by asking if it's okay, you're asking for permission. You're putting the prospect on a pedestal. You might think you're being courteous. You're not. You're putting yourself in an inferior position. Again, you've done a great job. You've established the meeting. You don't have the same job title, but you have to treat it as though you're on equal footing. So you're stating as if, right? I'm expecting you to come because you said you're coming. If you're asking and hoping, hey, I'm just calling to see if tomorrow at 10 o'clock is still okay. Now, yes, I included some desperate body language and tone there because really that's what you're coming across. It's going to kill your meeting. So, man, you want to kill your sit rate? Ask if the time is still okay. Please don't do it. Now, a couple of key notes, right? So let's say that demo is 4 o'clock in the afternoon. If you want to make that call on Monday afternoon, or if you want to make that call on Tuesday morning, right? You book the demo Friday, you sent the confirmation. If you want to wait Tuesday morning at 9 to call them, hey, Jimmy, it's Mark. Just excited to have you meet Jenny at 4 o'clock later today. Awesome. Have a great day. That's it. You can do it morning of. But again, if the meeting's in the morning, I'd be calling the day before. If the meeting's in the afternoon, I could also do that pre-call in the morning. That's up to you. Here's the thing, though. If in either scenario they don't pick up, I'm going to call 2 to 3 more times without leaving a voicemail. So if I had the 10 a.m. demo on Tuesday, if I called it at 10 on Monday and they didn't pick up, I'm going to call again at 1. I'm going to call at 3. I'm going to call at 4:30. I'm not going to leave a voicemail. But please keep trying to call. What I don't want to do is just rely on a text or an email. I'd like to get that verbal confirm. Again, I'm setting a tone. There's momentum, right? And so 1 hour before, after they say yes, I'm going to send an email and a text and, hey, looking forward to seeing you in an hour. You might be thinking, man, Mark, is this overkill? It's not. It's not. Days are happening. Things are occurring. You're creating an experience. That's all it is. Looking forward to seeing you in an hour. I throw an exclamation point in. I'm big on exclamation points. Energy, excitement, positivity. right? We have something great. We can't wait to share. Bring that through. And again, it's one more reminder. You may think, is that necessary? They already said yes, but then someone's day happens and they see that phone, they're like, oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. It's coming up. And they give you a thumbs up. Fantastic. Now you have a couple points of confirmation. Um, if they haven't answered your call, I'm still doing this because it's important. I'm not feeling as good about the fact that they're going to show up, but guess what? It's another opportunity. Some people won't pick up, won't respond, and they'll show, but I'm giving myself the best chance to do it. Do not underestimate the importance of that second touch. Do not underestimate the importance of that second touch. People forget stuff happens, fires start, right? There are things that blow up, and it's important to do that. And guess what? You know what? Sometimes you're going to get that, hey, Mark, I'm so sorry. I got to reschedule. And now you're in a reschedule loop, and that's okay. But if you didn't do that and they didn't show up, now you haven't done your teammate a solid because they can't reschedule the time. And now it's a bad look for you. So now here's the last piece I'll kind of bring in. So mission accomplished. Yes, everything's here. They've shown up at the meeting. You're in the mix. Here's what I personally is my preference. Your company has to decide how they want to conduct their meetings. But here's what I would suggest. If I'm running your team or if I'm leading your company or I'm leading the sales effort, I'm going to say that I want that SDR to do the 2-minute handoff. I really do. I think it's worth it for a couple reasons, right? Number one, they get to put a face to the name. Yeah, I'm the guy, right? Hey, Jimmy, it's Mark. Yeah, great to see you. So it's a familiar face for them. You have to remember, they're coming to meet someone else, even though they're the boss or the owner. There's still this awkward burden of having to meet a stranger. But I'm not a stranger. We talked on the phone. We talked a second time on the phone, hopefully, in the confirmation process. We're buds now, right? We're tight. So it adds a nice touch. The second piece is quickly restate the essentials. You have the small talk piece, you warm up a little bit, and hey, excited to introduce you to Jenny here. So Jimmy and I talked about X, Y, and Z. They're really struggling with A, B, and C. They tried this in the past. It didn't work because of this. Today, I think he's really going to be excited about seeing these couple of things and how we solve for it. Great. Now it reconfirms to him why they're there. And now, again, different companies, different pieces. You might hang out and stay on for the whole meeting. I know from the essence of time, you cannot do that every time. I think from a training perspective, it's great at least once a week. I'd have my SDRs be on a demo once a week because, again, I'm sure they're potentially the design is they will be future account executives or some other customer facing position. So to me, once a week for training or learning is great. Maybe you can't do that every time. Certainly you can't be on 10, 20, or 30 meetings a week, but so you probably have to drop off after that. But I think that's a great handoff. Now, what I don't want to do, if you just let the AE show up, I don't think it plays as well, in my opinion. So then they've got to go break the ice and everything. And the other reason is this. It's also a cue for the AE not to be redundant or waste time, right? So here's a major pet peeve of mine, okay? You work hard as an SDR, you put the notes in, here's what they're coming for. Excuse me. And then they kick off, hey, how'd you hear about us? Well, how do you think they heard about us? You called them, it was outbound. We called them, that's how they heard about us. It's outbound. So a canned line like that is death, right? It shows a lack of care. So that's where also, if I do the personal handoff, I can say, Jenny, want to introduce you to Jimmy, why don't you introduce you to Jenny? Jenny, this is Jimmy. Jimmy and I talked on Friday. I gave him a call. We talked about these pieces. It's another cue for the AE not to have this throwaway waste. Because if that question just shows a complete lack of knowledge. And then you know what? Yes, different people say that they don't like SDRs because they don't like the handoff. Well, that's a bad handoff. That's a fumble. That's a cue to the owner or the COO or the manager or whoever that person is that you're kind of wasting their time. Like, we already did the getting to know you piece. Can we just jump into it, please? My time's valuable. So, and if you've done that quick recap, they can get right into it. Doesn't mean they can't do more discovery. Uh, that's fine as part of the process, but just don't go over the same exact ground. So that's all going to create momentum when done the right way. So now I'm going to pause here. I'm going to check out my feed on LinkedIn and see if there's any other questions. Obviously, we don't have anybody in here today because, again, we don't have anybody in the Zoom, but I'm going to look. So I am not checking the Major League box scores. I'm just checking LinkedIn to see if there's any other comments or questions that are in the feed that have not been posted already. All right, I don't see any comments at this time. Take one more look. The event page itself. Okay, so I don't have any comments or questions, and that's fine. And again, key practices recap. Number one, book for success. Be specific, narrow the window, focus on them first, and personalize. All those are key to make sure you get the meeting. Win the confirmation process. Send them the confirm quickly, keep it simple and to the point, be minimal in terms of what else you're adding in, and keep it clean. Do not introduce a secondary introduction before the meeting itself. Respect their time. And then finally, create some momentum. Make this a pleasurable process, right? Expect them to come. Light touch by calling them, again, that verbal confirmation the day before. Give them that day of, hour beforehand. Looking forward to seeing you. And then, yeah, join the intro. Join the intro. Now you've done through all these different steps, you've shown that you actually are probably a little bit more personable. Your company cares a little bit more. You're a little bit more customer focused and relationship oriented in a world where everything is becoming decreasingly so and focused on AI and automations and efficiency. We're personal. We care about you. We're showing this through the extra effort and all these little steps and literally showing up. So those are my best practices. Looking ahead, look, every couple of weeks, I'm going to do a Friday Fuel webinar. You can always see the recap on LinkedIn. You can see the recap on YouTube since I stream it to there. Check out my weekly newsletter. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Just weekly thoughts on business and leadership and life. And finally, DM me on LinkedIn. If you're a company and you're looking to grow, or you've got a team already in place and you feel like, you know what, we might need a tune-up. Shoot me a message. I'd love to learn more about your focus, where you are, and your plans for growth. And if I can be a fit, if I can be a catalyst to help you grow, and it's a right fit for both of us, I'd love nothing more than to be your partner in that process and really deliver that gift that I've helped other companies with, that path to predictable, sustainable revenue growth. So shoot me a message. Love to talk and learn more about you and where you're headed. So that's it for today. Thanks everybody for the time. And I'll be seeing you back in a couple weeks. So have a great rest of the day.